Hi, this is Alex from the Retro Review. Today we're going to take a look at the Dell Mini Duo 1090. Michael MJD made a video about this machine more recently, so I may as well throw mine into the ring here and show you guys what mine's about. Unlike his, mine is completely bone stock. It originally shipped with the same Windows 7 Home Premium 32-bit as his did, but I mostly have tinkered with mine, so unofficially it'll run 64-bit Windows just fine up until Windows 10 build 1607. So anything past that, you'll have driver issues in terms of graphics acceleration and stuff like that. It's not a very good time. On Linux, this machine runs pretty dang well. You will have no issues whatsoever. Everything will just work out of the box. But like I said, mine's running Windows 7 Home Premium 64-bit right now. So, specifications, like he had iterated before, this has an Intel Atom N550, which is a dual-core, quad-thread Intel Atom chip from 2010. So this hardware can unofficially go back as far back as Windows XP if you wanted to. Given there's a weird audio quirk in that you have to plug in external speakers or use headphones or what have you in order to get audio out. For some weird reason, the internal audio does not route under Windows XP. But Windows Vista and newer works perfectly fine up until Windows 10 1607, like I've reiterated before. So unofficially, you can go all the way up to 1607 or maybe even 1703 with no issues whatsoever. Audio will work, video will have acceleration, and yeah, it's overall a better time when you go with Windows to stop it around there. So anyway, let's take a look at my system, because mine is actually unique in that although it is in rough shape physically, it still is running off the original hard drive, unlike Michael MJD's, which is his is failing, despite being a new in-box example of said machine. This one, even if I unplug the charger here, still holds a charge. How about that for a 15-year-old machine? Or actually, almost 16-year-old machine now. Mine, on the other hand, has some issues with the left click. It doesn't even work anymore. And it was spotty when I received this machine from my aunt a few years ago. So, for some weird reason, these Dells just have a trackpad that has a left click that, over time, for some weird reason, that will just wear out and stop working properly. I don't understand why that is, but this machine doesn't have a good left click. Luckily, you can just do trackpad gestures like double tapping to click, or tapping to click. So that's a nice way around it. Keyboard still works great, although mine's obviously pretty worn down. Speakers work fine. In fact, if I had the dock like what MJD had shown, I would have used that with this machine, in which it would have been pretty neat to show off in tablet mode. But I have it in netbook mode right now, because why not? Makes it a little easier on me, given I've got cerebral palsy and that sort of thing. So recording videos is not exactly the easiest thing for me. Easier when doing it from my phone than my iPad, because my iPad is like heavy as heck and I don't exactly have a tripod set up or anything like that. So anyway, like I said, unlike mine, I've loaded up with Windows 7 Home Premium 64-bit. You can install all the drivers via SDIO and they'll just work. And literally there are drivers for everything. Even the video drivers. So, like I said, you can go as far back as Windows Vista and it will just straight work. And you can go as new as Windows 10 1607 or even 1703, I think, in some cases, with no issues whatsoever. And it'll just work. The oldest operating system I've loaded up on here had to have been Windows XP Professional Service Pack 3. Once you slipstream the serial ATA drivers in there and slipstream the video drivers and all that, it'll just work. Given the weird issue with audio, you have to have external speakers or else Windows XP will not output audio at all. Despite the audio being detected, it'll just route it to the headphone jack on the side of the unit. But yeah, for light games, you can play light games on here and it'll just work just fine. I've ran NFL Blitz on here, I think, at one point, and it just works. And then I've played stuff like Fate and Star Wars. What Star Wars game is this? Oh yeah, it's Star Wars Rebellion. So there are some games from GOG that I have installed on here, and these just work just fine. I got the Fate games on here, I think, or I can install those and they'll just run good on here too. But I've got Star Wars Rebellion and Fallout 2 installed. So Fallout and Fallout 2, self-explanatory. They're old enough to drink now, so those run perfectly fine on here. But yeah, I might install Windows 8 or 8.1 on here at some point, because I know for a fact that'll run just perfectly fine on here. In fact, I think it's probably a better fit for the Duo, given that Windows 8 and 8.1 are both contemporary upgrades for this system. It'll just work, and it'll actually probably be snappier than Windows 7 is on here, or even Vista. So, just like this system, my main desktop I had when I was a kid, around like 12 or 13, came with the Intel GMA 950 graphics and a Intel Pentium dual-core E2160, and that ran Windows Vista, and it was not a good experience. So I did a little bit of an experiment back then, where I tried Windows 8, 8.1, and I think Windows 10, 32-bit, 32-bit at the time. And yeah, those newer operating systems absolutely flew on that ancient hardware, where Windows Vista and Windows 7 felt like molasses. Let that sink in. Windows after Windows 7 was actually snappier than the operating systems that would have been contemporary on this hardware. Windows didn't always used to be a resource hog. That's proof of that. But anyway, you can browse the web with Supermium on here, and it works just fine too. There's other things you can do on here. I've tried Adobe Linux on here, and it works perfectly fine. I've tried TinyCore, worked great. I've tried all sorts of different operating systems, including React OS, which I know for a fact that right now this hardware is not fully supported by React OS. So if they're seeing this, I am looking forward to getting React OS working on here with audio and video acceleration through the Windows Vista /7 drivers. Because, well, the XP drivers for this hardware is like 90% working properly. The only 10% is the audio driver, and that is only able to work through the audio jack, or the headphone jack, on the side of the unit. The internal speakers will not output anything at all, no matter what I do, under Windows XP. Using the XP driver for the Connexent Smart Audio audio system on this machine. It just so happens that I think Windows Vista and Windows 7 and newer all have rock-solid audio compatibility, whereas Windows XP is compatible, but is not fully, like, it fully doesn't work properly. It's like 95% there, with the audio being a weird little issue. And anyway, this has been a quick overview of this system. I'll see you guys next time.